Hi everyone. I want to spend the next few minutes talking about how to have a meaningful and impactful visit with someone who either their life has been upended, you're dealing with illness, especially chronic illness where there's not going to be, recovery in 2 or 3 weeks or a few months after an operation. Or if you're visiting someone who's grieving. Before I get into what I've got to say, I want to share a little bit of my experience to help you feel comfortable. This is the type of video I want to give you the opportunity to share with people, your neighbors, friends, family, and maybe the last visit didn't go well, or someone's been hesitating about coming to see you because they don't really know how to approach this. There's been a number of times where I've had to make the best decision on a list of really bad options. And I've appreciated when I've had people say to me, I've got nothing, or I don't know how to respond. And I've appreciated the sincerity of that just as much as I've appreciated the sincerity of people, saying to me what they would do if they were me, or what they perceive as the best pathway forwards. If you don't know, you don't know. And I don't see any point in making up that you don't know. On the other hand, as a friend to someone, there's also the option of trying to help work out pros and cons over a decision while not forcing any one position. Because if you're coming to help someone, you're wanting to give input but not make the decision for them. And I do think there's some merit in not sort of rescuing someone over a decision that's not easy to make, but to try and help equip a person with making the best possible. Either by sort of a pro-con decision, but this also could be because something doesn't quite feel right. Granted, that sort of something doesn't feel right, I don't typically use this with someone who shouldn't be relying on feelings for making a decision, like someone who's predisposed with a medical condition where feelings will mislead them and not be an internal barometer, or not be a reliable internal barometer. I was out last week. I was up to Home Depot. I had to buy some screws, nuts, and bolts for something I'm working on. On the way home, I saw someone I knew and they were cleaning their barbecue. So I took my power wheelchair, turned in their driveway, and drove up to them and said hey and the person's name and asked how things were going. The response was that his wife had just died after a 3-month battle with cancer. It wasn't the response that I was expecting, but I'd come to say hi to him and I was perfectly prepared to visit for a bit. And so what I started doing, I think this is really important to share, is asking open-ended questions and then not talking because there's quiet, but wait for a response. Sometimes awkward silence isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's something that I've learned over my lifetime. And when you're coming to see someone, your opinion doesn't really matter, or doesn't always matter. And what I mean by that is if someone's just had surgery, it's their perception of how things are going. You know, with my friend that's just lost his wife, it's his perception of how things are, and you know, I was able to ask some more personal questions, like, you know, the very practical, now that you're single again, you know, what are you doing for food, and what are you finding hard? And being willing to listen and sort of make sure that the essentials of life are taken care of, like sleep and food and some form of exercise. And then plant some seeds, plant some thoughts about what I've heard the person say to me. And this was because he'd given me enough hints that I could say back what I'd been hearing to him. And he had enough self-awareness that he just, you know, the affirmation was good for him. There's always the difficult conversation when someone legitimately doesn't know and does not have a clue of what to do or who to turn to. And I think this is where we're figuring out what the available resource is, so someone who's actually got experience could help speak into the situation, whether it be, you know, a family doctor if you're dealing with a medical situation where the family doctor could be used as a sounding board, or for all that matters, a nurse practitioner. You know, if you're dealing with social issues like, you know, struggling with finances, starting with either a financial planner or a social worker to help plug into resources that exist might be an inroad. But I think it's really important to acknowledge that the you know, the emotional part of people, or you know, the part of people that don't want to be feeling like a project, or you know, are feeling talked down to. And making people feel like they genuinely know that they're cared about and you have genuine concern. You know, I remember when I was in my teens, I was amazed after some late night conversations with some of my guy friends about what was going on in my life that they would talk to me the next day, but there was value in the friendship, and you know, the friendship was well established, and there was comfort that someone knew what was going on in my life. And I think that's worth sharing as well. So not everything in this video is going to have been for you, but I wanted to get you thinking about what you need, what you want, and ideas or direction towards building meaningful relationships in your life. I hope something I've said today has been helpful to you. Have a really good day. Bye for now.